El Presidente sends a message to the president, in case you haven't been on the internet in the past 10 years or so. El Presidente is Dave Portnoy. Portnoy is the pizza-devouring, Super Bowl media day crashing, gambling degen who runs Barstool Sports. And while much of conservative media is pretzeling itself to explain the Signal scandal, Portnoy, who is often supportive of Trump, is lending no such shelter to the president.
Trump, you may love Michael Waltz. You love Pete Hegseth. You may love these guys. Somebody has to go down. To me, it's Michael Waltz. You can't poo-poo it. You can't downplay it. You have to sit up there and be like, holy this is a up of epic proportions. There will be accountability. I will get to the bottom of this. I don't care if you're right, left. There's nothing being made up here. Jeffrey Goldberg is telling the truth. It's obvious these texts are real. It's obvious they're classified. It's obvious we gave away the strike information 2 hours before it happened. This is a mistake that can't happen twice. It cannot happen once.
And Tim Pawlenty is back with us. You know, it's interesting. He used the S word, the F word, but the A word there might be the most important, accountability.
Yeah,
is there any left in this society?
Well, yes, and there should be. And again, this is something that isn't hard. This is sort of accountability 101. The facts are what they are. I think the fact that it was mishandled is obvious. And we should get back to what we said earlier, which is acknowledge your mistake. The president should step in and say, if I'm not going to fire all these people because they're still relatively new and he likes them, okay, but at least have a public acknowledgement there's a problem, that you admonish these people and you told them to make sure it never happens again.
And implement some stricter communications protocols moving forward.
And then to your point, I think it goes away in 2 days after.
But is this bigger than this?
No, look, I never thought I was going to agree with Dave Portnoy about much of anything, much less retweet him today. But that was a fantastic rant, okay? And this is what America needs. This is how we come back together as a nation. When you actually have people who tell the truth on both sides. This is what has been missing from our political discourse since Trump was elected the first time. It's just gone way off the rails to the right and to the left. And 43% of the American public is sitting in the middle, wanting to have some sort of compromise, wanting people to have accountability, wanting people to tell the truth on both sides. And Dave Portnoy may have broken through today. I mean, this is somebody who helped elect Trump. He got young men to vote for Trump. He got a bunch of other people to vote for Trump. This, to me, signals to what you were saying earlier, Schmeichel. This is bigger to me today than the other stories that Trump has tried to debunk.
Well,
because you have big supporters who are coming out against him.
I don't quite follow Portnoy much, but I do know that he takes his dog, Miss Peaches, everywhere he goes, so I can relate. I thought what was very interesting was today Marco Rubio, who was on that Signal thread, got asked about it. And he said something that nobody else has been able to say out loud. He said, not looking very happy to say it, somebody made a big mistake.
Not just a mistake.
A big mistake. And there have been others, like Piers Morgan, also a big supporter of Donald Trump, no fan of mine. And I've got to say, I agree with what he said today. He said, if you don't consider this to be classified imminent info about imminent war plans, it may be that you are too partisan to recognize the truth when it slaps you around your tribal chops. But look, going again to what we had said before, I think the only way that there's really any chance of an investigation and of the principals testifying on this is if there is a bipartisan hearing and investigation called by the Senate or the House. It's not going to happen in the House. There's a chance that it happens in the Senate. And if the American people want it to happen, they should pick up their phone. They should call their senator. They should call Roger Wicker, who is the Republican chair of the committee, 202-225-3121. That is the Senate switchboard. Call his office and say, you are outraged and want an investigation.
I mean, John, I think, I could be wrong, but I think we're probably going to see the message begin to shift a little bit from the administration. I mean, they're watching all of these supporters of the president say, hey, just come out and acknowledge the error that occurred so that we can move on. I've talked to a number of people who are very close to the president. There's not a single person who wants to talk about this. They're ready to move on, John.
Is he playing dumb on this?
Oh, yes.
Because today it was sort of, I don't know if it's classified.
Whenever anyone's going to come out against him, he's pretending like he doesn't know what's really going on. I mean, that was my first impression, that I had the same exact reaction.
But there's
today.
also a lot of muscle memory here, which is fight everything, deflect everything, obfuscate everything, never acknowledge a mistake. And this is one example, one at least exception to that general rule, which has worked well for him. Just, it's obvious you could have handled it the way we've been talking.
I mean, John Thune agreed with Mike Johnson to increase the debt limit in the reconciliation bill. We're not even talking about that because we're talking about this. I can assure you most Republicans would prefer to be talking about those kitchen table issues, which matter in a lot of these really tight upcoming special elections.
I can tell you that if Joe Biden, I think, had answered the way that Donald Trump answered, I mean, sounding completely incoherent regarding signal, Republicans would have wanted him dragged out of the Oval Office straight into a convalescent home.
By the way, though, it's interesting. The White House press secretary said from the podium, this is an approved app. So, I'll predict to you as we're sitting here, one of their first defenses is going to be, here's what CISA said or the NSA said or DOD said. It was an approved app by somebody.